Section 8 clients, do you get like a list of people?
My name is Aline, and I just recently.
Okay.
Okay. So think about your workflow. Again,
I don't know how to do it.
I know how to do it, and I'm trying to instruct other people to do better in their business, but I also have to do better in my business.
Hey everyone, how's it going out there in YouTube land and in Facebook group, in the Metro Detroit off-market real estate Facebook group? I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. We have joining us today Robin Barnes. She was having some technical difficulties getting in here, so we got all that situated. And so she is not only an investor, she's also a realtor. She's also an investor-friendly realtor, and she's a broker, has a lot of accolades. We put a bunch of that in the description, so do check that out. But, you know, we're here to find out what she's done going in this market, in this current market, what we're in. And this is March 18th in 2024, okay? So the reason why I put that date there is because if you're watching this a year later, this all could change. You never know. We don't know what the Fed's going to do. We don't know what the housing market's going to do, anything. So we want to hear up-to-date information on what's changing, what she's doing to change that. And then, hey, maybe we can change according to what she says as well. So without further ado, Robin, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Hello, everyone. How are you?
Awesome. So I am very happy to have you here. I really do appreciate it. And, thank you for bringing, for taking the time to speak to everybody. First off, before we get into what you're doing, in this market or anything like that, tell us kind of how you got started in real estate, and what made you become an investor, become a realtor, so on and so forth. So how did you even get real estate in your head?
I actually kind of started off as a young person, a young teen, say about in my 18 years, and for 18 years old. My father, when I was he was a builder. He built foundations for homes. So that was
Okay.
kind of his side gig thing. He was a foreman in the plant by day, and
Yep.
he built foundations at night. So because of that, I was always around different construction situations,
Mm-hmm.
things that need to be fixed and stuff like that. So that's where I kind of got the niche for. I always
Okay.
knew I was going to be in real estate. Always wanted to be the developer, was always the end goal, because I wanted to build communities and things like that, city
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. That was always kind of the goal.
Yep.
But I started off just simply flipping homes. My dad was my first. He was my first private lender, I guess you can say. And he was tougher
That's
than
always
all.
fun.
He was tougher than any private lender I've had since I've been grown.
Let
But
me guess, he wanted like 25%, right?
mainly all the profit. But I mean, he made me very a stickler about certain things, because he had built our home. So he had drew it
Okay.
and built our home. So it was just, he walked me through the whole process. And so we literally, my first house was with him as my lender, and I flipped it and sold the
Okay.
house, and boom, that was it.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, so that's pretty much
So
how
you
it's.
had knowledge for real estate from being a young age with your dad and everything.
Absolutely.
Now that's being in the construction. When did you turn to, I want to be an investor, or I want to be a realtor? How did you, I mean, besides flipping, obviously, because we had to do that, but when did you, that's the investor part. You just told us that, but when did you say, I want to be a realtor?
Um, I hate to say this, but I'll be honest. Greed. I found out that
Hey, that's okay. Greed, sometimes greed, that's what makes things work.
that's what it was. It was greed because I found out I'd heard that I was limited to how many houses I could flip.
Okay.
So I got that God syndrome, that God complex. I didn't want nobody to stop me. I wanted
Yep.
everything, and I wanted everything I could get. And so I said, hey, let me go on and get this license.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
So, with what year did you become a realtor? Just so we can get the timeline down.
Ooh, you're making me think. Oh my God. Oh, how long ago? It had to been about 20, let me see, 2008, probably like 2005 or six, somewhere in there.
Okay,
Because
so
the market crashed a year after I had started. So had to have been about 2006 or seven, somewhere like that. Is when I got
okay, okay,
Mhm.
yeah, because the market crashed about the end of 2007.
Mhm.
Okay, it was starting to crash then,
Mhm.
but and so how did you? Speaking of which, you're a brand new realtor during this market crash of 2007 2008.
Mhm.
How did you handle that? Were you investing as well, and did you lose?
No, actually, I was not investing because at that time, like I said, I just got my license, and so
Okay,
now I'm in the mindset of, oh, I want to only do luxury properties. So I was selling actually out in Palmer Woods and those areas in Detroit,
okay,
and um, I had a couple of great deals. I had just closed on a deal that one of my friends, good friends, and also they went to the same church I did. And I had closed on their deal. And lo and behold, my broker, who was always kind of dibbling in with the banks and stuff with foreclosure,
yep,
I was working with her, and because I was her assistant and an agent. And
hmm,
so I was working with her, and she needed some help with doing some of the MSRs and stuff like that. And so I would help her, just to help her out. And
yeah,
lo and behold, one night I cleaned out everything in our banks, everything we had to do, the BPOs
yep,
and the MSRs. I cleaned them out and we got them done. I got off the phone with her, said everything's cleaned out, and she double checked. She said, "Yep, we can go to bed." We used to do these be up night 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, chugging through the work, and
yeah,
we were showing houses during the day. And
okay,
the next morning, got up and we had like 25 properties out of nowhere.
right,
And it just kept happening for each bank that she was affiliated with. And so we knew something was happening. The bank called and told us what was going on, and
hmm,
they wanted us to jump on it right away. So we just went into how we gonna make this happen, how we gonna do it.
yep.
And they kind of gave us a little bit of guidance, but from there on, we just set up a system and rocked with it. That's all you could do.
That's all you can do.
Mhm.
So when did you start buying after, I mean, thank God you did not lose anything
Mhm.
during that 2007, 2008
Mhm.
crash. When did
Mhm.
you start buying? Say either whether it be flips again or whether it be buying holds.
I've never been really big on the buy and hold, and I'll tell you why. I like getting the
Okay.
big check at the end. And so that's that little greed part with me. So so it's there. Okay. We just gotta talk
Yep.
about greed. So to me, I get a high off of
Okay.
ROI, the return on my investment of my flip.
Yep.
And so it's just something about that. It's something about setting the tone in the neighborhood where other people were
Okay.
all hovering around, oh, we're going to sell around, 120, 130. My goal was to make sure I'll be the most expensive house in the neighborhood that sold. And
Got it.
so because I had made a lot of connections with different lenders, at the time I was with Rocket Mortgage, things of that nature. I I had
Hmm.
I had access to know exactly what I needed to do, what I didn't need to do. I looked at some of the
Yep.
things Dan Gilbert was doing at the time of the rebuild after that,
Yep.
and I just kind of followed his lead. And so my houses sold for a lot more. I put different things in there that I knew that females who actually pretty much buy the house. You know, the guys want the man cave. I knew what people wanted, and so I kind of
Yeah.
said I'm gonna cater to that, and my house
Yep.
is sold. So as far as me getting into the buy and hold, I just now got back into that. I
Okay.
did it in Flint before. Yeah,
Mhm.
it was okay, but and it was fine. But you know,
Yep.
I'm getting back into it now a little bit.
Okay. So, by the way, if anybody has any questions, if you're watching and you have questions live, we are live. So put them in the side chat, and we'll answer them live as long as it's pertaining to what we're talking about. Okay. So Ron Walraven says hello, Robin.
Ron,
So
how are
Ron is
you?
awesome. So, and I always appreciate you come on here. Tim Rumbler says bring in the value.
Hi,
So
Tim.
that's awesome. I always bring in the value as much as possible.
Right, right.
So we even got some people watching from Facebook. So, I think Tim was on there before. He said, let's go.
Mm.
So most definitely. So we can bring your chat on here and bring your questions on here. We'll both answer them. So let's continue. How are you, or what are you doing right now as far as, you just said that you're getting into buying holds, and are you still doing flips at the same time? And
I
what
balanced,
is
I
you
balanced it too. I
you
balanced it too.
balance the two? Okay.
Yeah. And I
And
think that's
tell me why you decided to do that. What was the thought process?
well for right now is you should be right now you should be trying to garner wealth, get you a wealth magnet
Hmm.
going on there, a wealth foundation. What better time now than to get into rentals? Most people
Right.
need rentals. It's kind of hard, the 6 and 7% interest rates, houses, the scarcity of housing. People need somewhere to live now. So now it's more of for rental for me is more of getting out there, trying to get something out there, that a good product that the community can have, that if they need to rent they can, and it's something
Hmm.
within their bounds. So that's what we're trying to, that's my concept of doing it. The flips is what I just do just to keep me active in flips, and that's it. So it's
Right.
just about what I run across.
Most definitely. So J Matt from Facebook's asked, where are the target points of value growth in Metro Detroit? And I think what he's asking is where do you think the growth is going to be in Metro Detroit?
I'm gonna be honest with you. Everybody is the areas when I was doing my flips and and looking at doing
Yep.
different things with rental. Those areas now are pretty much at the top of the line now. So your Bagleys and things like that, your
Yeah.
Indian villages and stuff like that in those sub areas around those major areas. Those are pretty at a pretty high level right now. So you're not going to get
Yeah.
as much of a return on investment. And even if you get a home that's in those areas, you're going to have to charge probably like the top dollar in order to get your return on investment back on the property. Um,
Mhm.
I say a lot of areas to me, I'm more of a I consider myself like a Columbus. I like to go into different areas and bring those areas up. I'm all about buying a block. I'm all about going into
Okay.
areas people don't want, and bringing those areas up, and making and pretty much forcing other people to say, hey, you know what? That's a nice house on the block. I want to bring that area up. I want my house to look nice. You got the homeowners involved. Now you bringing more
Hmm.
people to the street. People taking more pride into the area. And so you're slowly but surely bringing those areas up, and you got it for a good deal. You still get your return on investment, and the people have a nice neighborhood. It's an up and coming new neighborhood. So that's kind of
Yeah.
what I'm into now.
I agree with that for the buy and holds.
Hmm.
The only thing is like I had this conversation with a new investor into this area, and they're looking to do fix and flips.
Hmm.
And that exact strategy, I go, you can't do that with fix and flips because the comps are just not there.
They're not there.
I
No.
go, now what you want to do is as soon as the comps get there,
Hmm.
now you pounce,
Hmm.
because that's when you can get them cheap and
Hmm.
then bring them up and prove, hey, here's the comps, here's the
Hmm.
value. Okay. but
Right.
I'm all about buy and holds as well. All right.
Hmm.
So I like the quick cash for fix and flips,
Hmm.
but I'm all about the cash flow.
Oh, absolutely. Because
Flow.
that's going to give you your wealth. That's going to keep
Yep.
you where you need to be. And as an economist, I tell people, um, the reason why I'm not as afraid of risk is because I do have that background as an economist. I can read the market. I can understand what's going
Yep.
on. Being in the development field, we're always looking outside of the box for different areas. So I'm not
Yep.
specifically afraid to do certain things. I know just when to pounce when I can get it all the way up to a year earlier. And then all of a sudden you start
Okay.
seeing people coming in. But that's from a level of expertise, I guess you can say, and for me
Yep.
doing it myself, that only I can, I wouldn't tell a new investor to do it like that because they're gonna freak out. They'll be nervous all the time. They're putting the lights in place. So it's like
Yeah.
you have to
Oh yeah.
you have to have people grow to that
Yep.
level of where they're comfortable. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
like I'm into buying buildings, into buying,
Yep.
4 level, 4+ units. I mean,
Yep.
that there to me, when you're talking about affordable housing, that's a whole new game. That's something that I do outside of the state of Michigan is we actually go, through opportunity zones, we are building, actual cities and building and
Right.
bringing in transportation and lights and stuff and we're not getting these areas where it's safe. No, we're not going to pay
Hmm.
top dollar for that. We're going to 9 times out of 10, we're going to get some of these buildings that look like, I don't know what, tear them down
Hmm.
and then go from there. And we build up, and you can build a whole bunch of affordable housing where people can live. So it's a different mindset once you get into that level. So like I said,
Yep.
for me, I know my skill set and how far I can
Hmm.
go because this is where I'm at. But for the new
Okay.
investor, no, you need to get your feet wet. I tell new investors, do a flip, do it in a
Yep.
nice safe place. I mean, and get out of the notion that you're going to make $60,000 off of each flip. You know what I'm saying, or $40,000, or
Yeah.
understand that breaking even is not what you want to do, but if you do, that's a good thing. It's only
Yeah.
once you're in a hole is when there's a problem, and so you have to reevaluate and reassess. So H1 you do, yeah, you may only make 30,000 off the deal, but that's a good day. That's not a, you tell me
Yeah.
another job that you can get in a month where you're making $30,000, you get a check for 30 grand. You're not. There is no place that you're going to do that. So
Right.
you gotta crawl before you walk. And I think
Most
that's one of
definitely.
the things.
And Amani puts in here building the community, for sure. So,
Mhm.
and this virtual real estate services Michigan says yes, bringing back uh, alive. And she said thank you for that person says thank you for the invite as well.
Oh,
So, uh, you
hi,
know,
hi,
yeah,
Colette.
most
I know
definitely.
Colette too.
Oh, that's her name,
Yes,
Colette.
that's
All
Colette.
right,
That has been in the business
awesome.
forever. Amani's a rock star too. So.
That's awesome. So you just talked about building communities, building affordable housing,
Mhm.
building this whole thing. Now, I know that when we do these things, everybody's like, well, I want the highest rent possible. I want this. When you build these things, you do too, but we still need affordable housing.
Absolutely.
Okay. So there's a part where it says, why don't we build the masses and we're going to still make it right and still make it good for everybody to live in. But then, this way we can still cash flow. Sorry, I'm stealing that from Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank. So sorry,
Cash
don't sue me,
flow.
bro. So,
That's one of
but
my that's one of my mentors.
oh yeah, I love it. I love it because that's the thing. At the end of the day, we're investors. We still need to make money in order to. I tell people this: we need to be greedy in the beginning, and
Mhm,
even still need to be greedy throughout the thing. Because if we can't feed ourselves, if we
mhm,
can't continue to run, we can't help other people. And
mhm,
even though I make money, even as a wholesaler, I
mhm.
still believe I help people get out of situations.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
I mean, I
100%.
tell you, a lot of times when I buy my homes, I buy them from wholesalers. I've always done that. I mean, that is the investor way to go. Most investors are never going to buy a property off the MLS because the MLS is going to have it at the top dollar for that area. When you're
Mhm.
investing, you're trying to get it at a good price so that
Yep.
you can put money into it and still make a profit even once
Oh
you
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? The same when you're doing rental. I mean, you want to get your property at a good price so that when you bring it up to code and you can put renters in there, especially if you're doing
Yep.
Section 8. You know what I'm saying? That's the new hot thing,
Yes.
is doing Section 8. I mean, you could do the Bird method on Section 8, get a house, rehab it, rent it out,
Yep.
and after 6 months, you can refi it and repeat. Sometimes you can
Yep.
do it in 90 days, depending on the lender. I mean, so those are all actions that you can do. And Section 8, I know people say, well, I don't want Section 8. When you are an investor, you have to have the mindset that when you're renting, the house is going to get there's a thing called wear and tear. Okay.
Yes.
True enough, you don't want nobody putting holes and stuff in your walls and all that.
Yep.
But if you got a tenant, a long-term tenant, you already know up front, yeah, you putting decent stuff in, but it's not like you're doing in a primary home. Okay. So you're
Most
not putting
definitely.
in triple X granite. You're not putting in, and I don't mean triple X as nudity. I
Yep.
mean
Da, da, da,
that's
da.
different levels of granite. So you're not putting in granite that's $10,000 and $30,000 on a countertop. Okay,
Right.
that's somebody that's a primary homeowner that's going to probably live a good 20, 30 years in that house. That's a different
Yes.
ball. Custom cabinets, stuff like that. That's for a person that's going to stay in that house for a specific longevity type of time. When you're talking
Yep.
about you're not going to put that type of stuff in. So, but you have to also be able to mitigate and manage the amount of money that you got to be able to say, okay, this is going to be a loss after this 3 years. When these people leave, I'm probably going to have to paint.
Yep.
I'm going to have to put in new carpet if I have carpet. I'm going to have to redo the floors. There's a certain
Mhm.
level of mitigation of money that you're going to have to put back into that unit in order to get it back up to where a person who was staying there before will be wanting to stay there again for the same amount. And so that's the key. In the Bird method, you look
Yeah.
for somebody that you're looking for that renter to be able
Yep.
to pay the loan. So once you
Mhm.
pull that money out, then that renter got to be able to pay that loan so that you're not paying it. You moved on to the next part the property. So there's different mindsets you have
And,
to have.
and based on that, real quick, and what's guaranteed money coming from the government?
My
Who
government,
pays government rents? Section 8.
Section 8. Who got paid consistently during COVID and never missed a beat? Government
Section
money.
8.
Section 8.
Yeah, that's right.
So if you didn't learn
So,
anything else, that's what you need to understand.
right. Now, you also have to understand is that it also depends on the area that you're renting in too.
Mhm.
Because I'm not going to put the same finishes in Detroit that I am going to put in Birmingham.
Oh,
Okay.
absolutely not.
So
You wouldn't be able to.
everyone just understand that every strategy is different, every area is a little bit different. It's just it's just like when you're flipping a house. You
Mhm,
look at the comps for that
mhm,
area.
mhm.
If none of the comps for that area say I'm going to put in quartz countertops and I'm going to flip this, and all of them say I'm going to put Formica, why would I spend the difference to put quartz unless I know I'm going to get the extra value added on it?
So that's exactly
You
why you would do it. That's
you
exactly
know
why you would do it. I'll tell you,
right.
Andy, I'm a type that I don't want to just rent. My motto is that I want to rent to something that if I had to move in it, I'm good. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be freaked out. Okay.
Right.
So yeah, you
Well,
say, well,
no, what I was getting at,
why do
what
I
I was
want to
getting
put
at,
quartz in, y'all? Well, you saying why you
right.
want to put quartz in? Well, if quartz is gonna, okay, you got to look at the spread of in that area. It's not
Yes.
just if everybody is making 1,500, but if for the average for a 3-bedroom in that area is 1,700, why wouldn't I go for
Mhm.
the 1,700?
Of course.
Okay, so
But
like you
my
said,
point is this. My point is
mhm,
this is you're looking at comps, And if you don't think it's going to appraise for a higher price by putting that in, then
Are you talking
I'm
about
saying,
a flip?
yeah, yes.
Okay.
This
Okay. You're talking about
specifically a flip.
Okay.
So if by putting that in there,
Okay.
you're not, it's not going to appraise for a higher price, but you spent, say, we'll call it 50% more. Okay. Well, there's no point of you spending 50% more if you're not going to get the return.
But Randy, we are investors. We don't ever play top dollar for anything. We have connections. We have relationships. What is real estate?
Yes.
Relationships.
Relationships.
What I may pay for courts is not what the average Joe is going to pay for courts.
I get that.
You know what I'm saying? So
no, I do. So you still have. All I'm saying is you still have to play the devil's advocate.
Right.
You still have, okay, if I put X amount of money in here extra, am I going to get that return plus more?
Absolutely.
And what I'm saying is if you're not going to, there's no reason to do that.
But your numbers, the math got to math. That's what you're saying.
Correct.
The math has to math.
And based on what we're talking about here, we're talking about flip houses. Colleen has Colin had a question. When flipping a house, what rehabs within the house increase the value the most? Floors, paint, light fixtures, etc.
I'm a stickler for all of those. But I'm more of a paint my walls. I am a stickler about my walls. Like I'm looking at your walls behind you. That's a nice, that's a good, decent job. I like it because even on TV it looks good with all the bright lights.
Yeah. I did it myself.
Oh, you probably see? Yay!
See, I did it myself. This here was like a bright yellow. It was a light, bright yellow. It had all the white at the bottom. It was there, but this was all yellow. The ceiling was yellow. I changed the ceiling to be white, and I changed the walls. That's actually one of my favorite colors. It's like a navy blue.
Like a gray blue.
Yeah.
And so, so your paint, a lot of times we can do a lot of upgrades, like with paint. If you get a good painter, they will make your house look amazing. Sometimes we do a lot of other little stuff that we think is just going to make that house pop. But some of the most simplest things make your house stand out and pop. And it doesn't cost a lot of money. I have literally painted a whole house, did an accent wall, did a couple of different things. Yeah, you have to put in windows if you got that, but this house had windows, so I didn't have to worry about that. What I did was wrap the windows. It's nothing worse than a window that's not wrapped. Okay, to me. Okay, so I just had the windows wrapped. We did the hardwood floors. You have a lot of kids now that have allergies. So a lot of parents don't want a house that has carpet because it just keeps up too many allergies for the kids. And so if they want to, so you get the floors done. Okay. You put in a nice sink, you put in some nice cabinets. You don't have to get the best of cabinets, but put in nice handles. Things like your handles and your knobs and your mirrors in your bathroom. Nobody does medicine cabinets no more. Please, people, take them out. We don't do those. Okay. But those are things like that brings that house up. We don't do popcorn ceilings either. But anyway, scrape that stuff off. But like I said, those are the things in a nice hardwood floor. Do the porch, make it look nice. I'm not a big stickler for awnings because that's so 70s and 60s. That's so like our parents and grandparents. You take that off, redo, patch up, do some tuck pointing around the house, put some nice gutters out, make sure your water and your gutters is flowing away from the house because water is not our friend. Okay. In any house, you do that and really set the house off and just all paint I'm talking about. You can paint, what the end thing is right now? Painting the outside of the home. You can do this with bricks. Okay. So you can have a brick house and you can literally paint that house. A good painter, or if you got a crew that can paint, they can literally paint that house on the outside and make it look like something in Ferndale. And, so but that adds character to the house that normally is not there because a lot of times our brick homes are not in the best of shape. So once you have so much tuck pointing and stuff done, it just looks messy. And so it just never comes back. So a lot of people are beginning to get into that where they're painting homes. So you're spending more money on painting, but it's much better than you putting in all this other stuff. Now, if you have to do that, now if you don't have no porch and you got to put in a porch, well then okay, that's what you got to do. But it's usually in houses that I have a lot of stuff like that where I got to put in all the mechanicals. I got to upgrade the entire electrical board, where I have to, do the plumbing, where, and if it's too much, if all my copper is going, there's too many holes in the wall, well, I'm probably 9 times out of 10 is just going to drag all that plaster out, because I don't want to be bothered with that. It's easier for us to do drywall than it is plaster. That's a lost art, and it costs too much. So it's just certain things you have to know what to do, how to make that house look nice. And it doesn't have to be a lot of stuff. Don't get the fixtures that everybody has. Go out on a limb and say, hey, put this nice fixture up. I'm not going to do what we call the boob lights. Everybody doing boob lights. You just go and do something a little different. Put a nicer handle. You can still get the same cabinets from Home Depot if that's in your budget. Still get them, but just put nice handles on them. Okay, those are little things that you can do that can make the house look really, really nice. And I'm a realtor, I'm an investor, but I'm also a broker, I'm a broker. And so for me, staging a house sets it off. Staging any house, whether you're renting it or you're flipping it, you have to stage that house. That's going to get you the number, because a lot of people, especially first-time home buyers, who's 90% of who you're probably working with when you first start off in investing, they don't quite know how to put the house together. This helps them to do that.
Most definitely. And 9 times out of 10, when you're staging, you're going to get that back if you're going towards a retail buyer. Okay.
Absolutely.
So especially if it's a first-time home buyer or anything like that. So one thing, when I did my renovation of my house, I realized there's a lot of cheaper options that still look good. There's a lot of expensive stuff that look exactly the same as the cheaper options, so you can do a lot of different things and save money. But keep in mind, kitchens and bathrooms are what sell houses.
Absolutely. And the more bathrooms you got, the better it sells.
Correct. And just don't forget that. And don't forget who's looking and who's actually making the decision on the house. Okay. Do you ever think a man is going to say, I kind of want this one and this one? The only way that's happening is if he's single.
Or if it's a man cave.
Or if it's a man cave. I mean, I don't know if somebody's going to buy a whole house for a man cave. You never know. But hey, if you got the money, you got the money.
Make it nice. You don't have to do like, really, the easy thing about men, and I just love you guys, but the easy thing about men is if you just give them the concept that, hey, this can be your man cave. It's already set up for you to make it what you want. I have seen men's eyes light up like this, because it's like, oh, I got a space that's mine. You know what I'm saying? And so they light up. I mean, the steps are done. The floors are done in the basement. It's waterproofed. It's ready to go. We just separated the mechanicals from the rest of it. So the clean, the painting is good. You got the dark ceilings or the white ceilings.
I'm going to be honest with you. That's actually what sold me on my house, is that my basement's finished. Okay. Is that my basement's finished. Okay. Not that, it has enough space. I'm used to basements having enough space. It's the fact that it's finished. Okay. Now it's still older style, but I can change that shit out. Okay. There's drywall. There's carpet there. There's during our renovation in this house, I basically stayed in the second floor to sleep and in the basement to entertain. And because we tore out our kitchen completely, it was kind of we have a dry bar down there, and it became our kitchen. So there's a microwave there, and I have a little mini fridge there. So, you know,
So that where you hang out for the games and stuff? You put a
oh
TV
yeah,
there?
yeah. I don't have live TV. I only do use the apps or whatever, but
Don't matter. Because a
that's,
lot of people don't have live
yeah. So I watch my movies down there. I do whatever, like that's my area. I
That's
got the
your
owner,
area.
last owner left a pool table here and a ping pong table here.
Oh, you
I'm
done made it a game room.
No, they left it here. So like it was already there. I'm like, I don't have to make it a game room. It
Right.
already is. So it's
So
like,
you done made it
okay,
a game room / man cave / game
yeah.
room / TV room where I
Oh
don't have to
yeah.
go upstairs. I can get all of my food and everything is right here. My little
Yep.
snacks, a little beer, a little water,
Yep.
whatever you drinking wine.
Oh yeah.
And you ain't got to go upstairs.
No.
Not until you get ready to go to sleep.
Right. So
Isn't that a wonderful thing? And I
is.
think men should have that. I
Yeah.
think that's a good thing.
So, and it just so happens that that's the only place we had, like, I have a TV in my bedroom and I have a TV there. That's it. I don't have a TV in the living room.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because my wife at the time she doesn't like the look of a TV in the living room. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like, I'll go downstairs. But it's doing whatever I can. But you're right. That's what sold me. But I'm obviously not a decision maker. The biggest thing basically what sold my wife on it was there's enough space to do the renovation on the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
So we fully gutted the kitchen, took out a wall, everything, made an open concept, made a huge island in the middle.
Oh my goodness.
Everything.
See?
So yeah. And I did most of the work myself.
And see, you save so much money there. But
I did.
Everybody can't do that,
No.
So sometimes we have to buy it already set up like that because people just don't have the skill set. And it is not everybody is not going to.
What's funny about that is I did not know how to do that in the beginning.
But you learned, you taught self-taught?
I learned, and then I actually have a friend of mine that's a contractor, and I paid him as a consultant to tell me what to do. When are you going to besides college, when are you going to pay somebody just to tell you what to do?
Oh, that's a wonderful thing. I do it all the time. Right. So I get paid for it now.
Right.
So I tell people what to
do. So I paid him to sit there and tell me what to do. So what did I learn? I learned plumbing. I learned electrical. I knew the basics of electrical. It's part of my day job anyways. But I learned the proper way to sand and mud and make a patch and do all of that stuff. And how to lay drywall, even though I kind of already knew it, but not the professional way. How to paint properly, around, I learned a lot of stuff. So it's like time versus value, but by doing that, and then I hired a separate contractor to run the all electrical, and then there were some things that I
did you have fuses? Did your house have fuses, or did it?
No, we had breakers. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then we had my house was only built in 96.
So you were good. Okay.
Yeah, it just all was original to 96.
Original stuff.
Yeah. So we're on a well, so every plumbing fixture, it was copper and it was just corroded because I have a water softener. So
okay. Yeah. Oh, it's like you got your house for a great deal, and then you turned around and added equity and value to it.
Oh yeah.
And so now it's definitely worth way more than probably what you originally paid. And if you were to pay the market, it would probably, with your little little things you want to tidy up or fix up, it'll sell like that because we don't have anything on the market really. So
yeah. So if I were to sit here and if I paid somebody to do the work, that like a contractor, it would have been another $100,000 on top of what I paid. And we did all the first
out of pocket.
So out of pocket, it was 80. I would have paid
Mhm.
180 to pay somebody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we
Good
did the
deal.
whole entire first floor, all luxury vinyl plank with the stairs, everything. What you can see here, or
I see your plank.
this
Yes,
this floor in here, yeah,
is that the
really
plank or is
nice.
that original? That's the plank.
No, that's the plank.
Yeah, okay. Oh, that looks good.
So yeah, this is all the plank, and it's really high quality. It's good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. So, but so we kind of get back in it. It got sidetracked. Sorry, I like to talk about stuff that I just did because it's I did it with my own hands.
Oh, well, that's good.
So
But you also solidified what I said. It's like, wow,
yeah,
that even though it was an '80s man cave, you saw
yep,
the vision and what it could
yes,
be once you bought the house and move forward. And that's really what investors are. We're visionaries. We're visionaries. We see
most
what can happen and what it can be if we just put some
yep,
time and a little effort into it.
most definitely. And then so what are so you said you're doing buy and holds now, so as well as fix and flips. Where are you buying right now for your buy and holds? And then where are you doing your fix and flips? Are you doing inside Detroit proper? Are you doing in the suburbs? Are you doing all of the above? And you also mentioned that you're doing stuff is it like out of state or in different areas?
Yes.
Things like that.
My as far as my investments, I'm a numbers girl. I've it has to make sense to me. If I like it,
Okay.
if I like the area, I don't ever say it's not an area I don't like because there's always something I like. It just has to make
Okay.
sense. Numbers have the math after math. That's pretty
Got
much
it.
it. I'm not a very I'm into aesthetics, but I'm not. Is when I'm looking to do my own personal investments, I'm looking
Hmm.
at, or if I'm doing for the few clients that I still want, that I prefer to do stuff with.
Yep.
Just won't, I have clients that just won't let me go. So, and I
Hmm.
love it. I love them. They know how I am. They know I perform. They know I perform on a high level, and they like that. So that's what I have. So those people, I look for them the same way I would look for myself, and they're accustomed to that. Um,
Awesome.
but it's basically, like I said, I'm more of a visual. I'm a
Okay.
visionary. So where some people may say, I don't want to be there. No, I can if I see it and it's going to work and the numbers make sense. I haven't had one that hasn't made sense, and so
Mm.
that's not a brag. It's just the numbers don't lie. I tell people all the time, 1 and 1 is 2 all over the world. No matter what language you speak, it's still
Yep.
2. So as long as it's adding up to 2, it doesn't matter. It's going
Yep.
it's going to happen for you. Um, as far as what I'm doing when I said out of state, I am finally into the development world. So I have a private equity firm,
Okay.
and we're not just your ordinary private equity firm, even though we can do private equity, normal private equity, but what we do is
Uh-huh.
specialize in opportunity zones, which
Okay.
is part of a 1031 exchange shelter. So when
Okay.
you have when you sell your investment properties, um, opportunity zones is a private equity that you can invest in on a certain project.
Hmm.
Um, and we'll have the Vita and everything out there for you to know what we have available. And you have the opportunity at that point to say, hey, I'm going to have to pay tax capital gains at first, but after 10 years, once the project is completed in 10 years, you have the opportunity of rather cashing out, which if you
Hmm.
do, you do not have to pay any capital gains on the cash out. So let's say you put in $50,000 of your investment. You sell your house, you got $50,000.
Yep.
Well, you got 150. You put 50,000 into it.
Hmm.
After 10 years, and after that, it has to stay in there 10 years. Um, that 50,000 has now grown into 3 million. Okay,
Okay.
because you put the 50,000 toward an affordable housing deal, 300 and some units with mixed use, retail, all that kind of stuff, parks,
Hmm.
everything, affordable housing, affordable renting, and then you probably even put in some condos, or a project that we're about to probably start in New Orleans is we're going to be doing some VA, So I'm going to be doing actual VA housing.
Got
A
it.
project like that, there's 150,000, well, 150, sorry, 150 million. You can easily, possibly come out of a deal with, $3 million ROI. But when you get ready to cash out your 3 million, it's all tax free. So you don't
Wow.
pay any capital gains off of that because of the shelter. So
So it's
that
specifically because it's for a government-backed program
is
like
exactly.
Affordable Care Act.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's not necessarily because you're running a syndication, you're doing all these
No.
apartment buildings and this like that. No, it's specifically because this money is being dubbed towards a government-backed funding program. Okay. Well,
Sort of,
not
kind of.
funding, sorry.
Sort of, kind of. It's what Opportunity Zones is a private equity fund on steroids.
Got it.
That's kind of how we put it. A normal private equities fund, you still have to pay your capital gains. Okay.
Yep.
Because Opportunity Zones is a part of the federal government and the IRS, the
Mhm.
private equity fund itself is set up that if I do an investment in an opportunity zone, which is a zone that the governors of all the 50 states have said that certain areas is deemed opportunity zones. If I were to do a project in one of those areas, or if one of my developers wanted to do in that area, then
Mhm.
we would literally do a fundraise, just like through the private equity for that opportunity zone. And
Yep.
because of the way the equity fund is set up with the IRS and with the federal government, we will get
Mhm.
that the investors, the qualified investors, will be able to get a tax shelter. So they will put in whatever they'll have to pay their initial um, uh, capital gains on their initial investment. However, instead of
Mhm.
you having 90 days, you have, you have like almost a year, okay? A
Got
year
it.
and a half to pay it off instead of just the 90 days. And so you
Okay.
get an extension on paying your capital gains once you invest in the opportunity zone. But at the end of
Mhm.
10 years, when you get ready to pull out, if you decide to pull out, if your return on investment from that 50,000 is now 3 million, then you'll get
Mhm.
the 3 million.
So there is
Five.
a time frame
So
on that of 10
there is
years.
it is a long-term investment, it's 10 years, but when you're dealing with it being in the development field, when
Yep.
you're dealing with um, development, because you're dealing with tax credits, you're dealing with,
Yep.
working with the states, you're working with the different cities, you're working with the government, you're working with, so then there's a fundraise part that has to happen, and those
Yep.
people have to qualify and all of that. So there's a lot of different moving parts. And so
Mhm.
those parts don't move as fast because sometimes you may have the property, sometimes the property it doesn't pass the feasibility reports. So if it don't, then you got to find something new. But at the end
Got
of
it.
the day, there's just you trying to get the tax credits because of everything you have to go through. You have to go to city council. You got to go to mayor. The community has to tell you what they want. It's a lot of community involvement. It's a lot
Mhm.
of municipality involvement. And so you're working together as a team to bring this area up. And not only do we bring in housing, but we also bring in retail. We do workforce development. We bring in
Yep.
jobs. We bring in all type of stuff. So 10 years, it takes me 4 years to even get it pretty much started. And where we're
Yep.
breaking ground. Then once you break ground, it goes fast. Then you got to put the people in there. You're selling as you go. 10 years, it'll go by quickly.
So, you know, um, all of this going on, it's crazy on, how much actually goes into this. Now, if you invest in your fund, you don't
Mhm.
have to, as an investor, you don't have to do any of that. You because you run the fund have to
Mhm.
do all that. But the
I'm the fund.
investor can just boop,
Yeah.
and I want to go do my fix and flips.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
A lot of qualified investors, and the investors that normally we get to put into these funds are people who have more than so many millions of dollars of investment. So
Yep.
they're set up very high. That's what we mean by a qualified investor. And
Yeah.
so normally they're Wall Street. So
Yes.
they see a good deal. They say, "Hey, this is great, Robin. how much you need, well, I got it out there. I need 250. I need 150. I need 50 million,
Yeah.
whatever. I can get a job. I can get a 50 million. I can get one person to get that, and it's a done deal. It just
Got
depends.
it.
That's the type of investors we deal with. So, do we
And how are
take,
you meeting all these types of investors?
because of I go to certain events that are qualified investor, you have to have an invitation. So I mean,
I need to go to those events, man. I'll tell you that. I'm going to all of these local events here, man. I need to go
well,
to some of those.
yeah,
But
I mean, I tell people, it's a lot of money right here in Detroit and Metro Detroit.
oh yeah,
You just got to be in the right spot. But I mean, it's, those type of investors, they hang out in different events and things of that nature. And because of my fund, a lot of times I will start throwing events just for them. So it'll
got
be
it.
a private only, investors and stuff. So yeah, but basically, we have people that do that for us. They, I got people who say, hey, I got an investor, whatever. And then
Mhm.
we just negotiate the deal and keep it going. Who's gonna get paid? We're gonna get this, and you're good. And you're
Got it.
basically negotiating if you're bringing something to the table. There's always
Mhm.
a room for that too. So, but yeah, but it's just that's how we do. I mean, it's kind of the commercial side of real
Yep,
estate. You know,
that's
a little bit different
awesome.
than residential.
Yeah, and I definitely want to get into the commercial side of real estate as well,
Some
because
it's
I do want to. Yeah, I do
it's
want to
fun.
get
It's fun,
into
Randy.
wholesaling some of those commercial stuff too,
Well,
because it's
yeah.
like it's crazy. Because on a normal residential deal, I'd probably make about 5 to 10 grand on a wholesale deal,
Hmm.
honestly, on a residential
Hmm.
and like single family. I mean,
Hmm.
but commercial, man, your fee could be 100 grand. You
Can be.
know,
Hmm.
it can be.
Yeah.
So might take a little bit longer, or it might not.
But remember now, you got to negotiate with your client, with your
Yes,
client. You know what I'm
of
saying? So
course.
it's a different ball game, but you're used to that.
Yeah.
Wholesalers are, they know that, if my client is the person that I'm selling the house for, and if you
Yep.
want to buy it and you got somebody that's representing you, they got to put their money on top. I mean, that's just how it rolls,
Most definitely.
or
So
it's like a split. So same thing with commercial.
100%. So we're coming to the end here, and I
Hmm.
just want to ask, kind of like for the future, real quick. What do you plan on doing? We kind of already talked about it with your buildings and your you called it it's not a syndication. It's called
No, it's private equity.
private
Opportunity zone,
equity.
private equity.
Opportunity zones. Okay.
Mhm.
So since we kind of already talked about that, how can our audience here and help you get to that point? And how can we be of value to you?
Well, I mean, from what I'm doing here, a lot of the stuff that I do with private equity,
Hmm.
that's a whole different ball game. I mean, that's something you'll definitely have to call me about how we work with that. Because it's
Sure.
a lot more than what I kind of gave you the quickie answer, kind
Sure.
of
Oh yeah.
the very layman term one. It's
Yep.
a lot more to it, but so that's a different thing. You'll have to call me about that one. But hey, I'm always looking to purchase homes. I have people that are looking to purchase homes. We got people who are looking for flips. We got people who are looking for. I got people who are looking for multifamily. Um,
Got it.
I mean, so definitely looking for. We have people who looking for something in. Uh, they're looking for a house in. I know you and I had talked
Yep.
in the burbs, in Oakland
Yeah.
County, burbs, something like that. Warren,
Yep.
North Warren, stuff like that. So I mean, so that's kind of where we at. And
All right.
it's not a lot of inventory. I understand, so that's
Yeah.
fine. But I think that's going to change, eventually. But that's what I'm doing here on the home front. I'm still a broker. I still
Okay.
do regular buy and sell, the regular
Who do
real
you have
estate.
your brokerage through?
I am the owner. I'm the owner of my own brokerage, Latitude Luxury Real Estate, Latitude Realty Group.
Latitude. Okay. I know
Mhm.
some people are brokers through like say EXP and stuff like that. So that's why I
No,
asked that. So
nope.
um,
I'm a boutique real estate broker owner. I
that's
guess you
awesome.
could say that. And so we've been in business for I want to say about 15 years now. And
Sweet.
so so I do pretty well, so it works out well for me. Platinum One Properties is what I use for myself.
Hmm.
So that's for anything that I'm flipping or rental flipping, whatever I'm doing for
Got it.
myself is through Platinum One. Um,
Hmm.
and then Nelson Edward development is what is going on with opportunity zones and development and private equity.
Got it.
Yeah, and we work
So if
all.
any, yeah, so if anybody wants to contact her, whether it be just to be, just to get, say, one of her real estate agents, part of her, or needs help, or wants to grant, wants more information about what she's doing, I did put her contact info in the description below, so check that out. But just so people have it while you're here, how do they get a hold of you?
You can call me directly. I've been being called directly for so long it doesn't even matter. My number's all over the place. So the number you can reach me at is 248-765-0221. You can also reach me through 313-399-9538. That's for Latitude, but you can still call me there if you have anything else. Or you can always shoot me an email. You could text me on
Okay.
either one of those phones. And you could just shoot me an email and it's super easy. It's my first name, my
Hmm.
last name. So it's robinbarnesbroker@gmail.com. That's my personal email. You can call me on that. We do have a website that is in construction because I'm kind of changing things around to accommodate Nelson Edward Development,
Hmm.
named after my dad.
Uh,
So so yeah, so I'm doing some things so that we can make sure we can tap into all those things. So that should be up soon.
yep.
And we'll be going from there. But yes, that's my little world of real estate.
Most definitely. So I'm really, really happy to have you on here, be able to share your story, your backstory, and what you're doing now as well with everyone. And I'm really hoping that at least one person out there has learned something from this podcast. That's always my goal.
Oh,
Okay. I just want one person to learn something. That's it.
that's awesome.
And
Thank you so much
maybe
for having me. I
maybe no
appreciate it.
problem. Maybe that one person is me. Who knows? I
Oh,
always learn something when I talk to people. I'm going to be honest. So
you rocking and rolling, Randy. We have these conversations like, wow, you're just an awesome person to talk to. So
thank
it's
you. I really do appreciate it. It's just my nature, and I love to learn and talk about real estate and just things in general with people.
mhm,
So because one thing I learned when I was a kid was I need to learn from other people's mistakes.
mm,
I need to learn from my own mistakes, but I
mhm,
also need to learn from other people's mistakes so I don't make those same mistakes. It's
right.
called saving time.
Yes.
And time is the one thing we cannot buy.
And money.
So,
This
exactly. So,
has been awesome.
um, all right. So, we are going to end this podcast. What we're going to do is I'm going to bring you down. I'll do a quick ending. But stay behind because I want to talk. I want to have a chat with you. All
No,
right.
no problem.
All
Bye.
right. Thank you everyone for watching, and thank you everyone for you know for all the comments, all the questions, and always coming in with great value. One thing that I do want you to do, please do hit like, hit the subscribe. If we've given you value, only if we've given you value. Okay. And then, leave a comment down below. If you're watching this replay, I'd love to hear what you think about this. We are also thinking about doing a meetup here in the local Metro Detroit area. I'd like to know what you think about that. If you'd be interested in it, we're thinking about doing that either once a month or once every other month. We haven't decided yet. So please do let me know. I want to hear feedback. I want to hear you know, what you guys think about that. So that's awesome. So until next time, which is we're going to be in 2 weeks, we're going to have another guest on the show. I can't wait. Let's all do deals together.
There was once a day that I would pray for you. I'd go and misbehave just so you'd notice too. Sneaking looks up and down from across the room. Damn, what a hell